What does it take to create a vibrant, thriving life? First, the sad news is that Thoreau was right. Most people are leading quiet lives of desperation, lacking in meaning, fulfillment, and vitality. But we choose more. We choose to create extraordinary lives. And the Art of Vibrant Living show entertains you with inspiration, empowerment, and education to create your life into a masterpiece. It's time. Let's vibe up. Aloha, y'all. Welcome to the show. I am Daniel Aaron, your host. This is the Art of Vibrant Living show, and our purpose is to entertain you, to inspire you, and most of all, to empower you to live your most vibrant, thriving life. We got an amazing show today. You are going to love my guest, and let's be clear, it ain't going to happen by accident, which means meaning your best, most vibrant, thriving life. So here's my request to you. I got two of them. One is please make sure that you take something. Our guest, Tyson, is going to drop some gold nuggets for you today. Take at least one of them and say, I'm going to apply that in my life and do it. Second is if you are not all the way to where you want to be in your life right now, I invite you, reach out to me. Let's get connected. I would love to meet you, to serve you, to find out how we can move you along even better. Okay, got it? Two requests. So Tyson Sharpe is indeed a sharp dude. He is the founder of the creator of an online community called The Serving Circle, which no doubt tells you something about where his heart is. And he works specifically with spiritual entrepreneurs. Since 2016, it's been his mission to help them, coaches, healers, to create more reach, engagement, impact, and income, and to help them, and maybe you, build online communities of raving fans. So I am super excited that you are with us today. Tyson, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure to be here, Daniel.
Fantastic. So I have the distinct advantage over some of our audience right now in that I have had the lucky pleasure of meeting you before. For those who have not, though, would you say a word about how did you get here? How did you get to this point in your life and your work?
It's a big question. Very big question. I mean, like everyone who's building a business, it's a slow evolution, isn't it? It's one of those things that as you evolve, everything starts to shift in how you do business, how you like to serve, and how you like to contribute. I really started off my education in psychology. I was always just fascinated with how the brain works and the psychology of what makes a good life. And so naturally, I just got into my education within psychology and my master's in organizational psychology and business management, but zero clue what I wanted to do. And how the evolution really shifted was I got into personal development, fell in love with the concept, fell in love with the art of coaching. And as I started to teach people all about mindset, psychology, positive psychology, all these different things, I started coaching business owners and realizing, if business owners start to really shift their mindset, they can elevate their performance, they can elevate their business, and of course the impact they can make on the world. But it really happened a shift for me when I really started realizing how attached I was to outcomes. My business started falling apart. Things started really unraveling in terms of income, clients, all these different things. And I was sat to really feel within myself and see how attached I was to the opinions of other people, needed to make money to feel safe, all these different core patterns within me. And that's when I started to interject a really spiritual lens on life. And we'll talk about that shift a little later. But now it's really a matter of, now that I have a spiritual lens on life, it's helping people who have a similar view and helping them succeed, through their business, and not only so they can feel fulfilled in what they do, but they can actually achieve the business outcomes that they want, which we're all finding are very, very challenging, aren't we? Especially in the world of online social media and content creation. It's becoming very, very challenging. So I've just slowly adapted my style of psychology, then mindset and coaching, to coaching business owners, then spirituality, then helping people with their business outcomes in the world of spirituality. And now I'm finding myself growing this incredible group of the Serving Circle and helping other people do the same.
That's beautiful. Okay, cool. So you said a couple things I want to dig a little deeper into there. You said a word on this already, but so you had some initial success, and then you found yourself focused too much on outcomes, and things started unraveling. And obviously that was like a big learning moment for you, and things changed from that. Can we go a little further into that? Like, what do you mean when you say too attached to outcomes? What's like, if in case people are not really familiar with that terminology, what did that mean for you?
Yeah, well, I was doing well initially in the first few years. It took me a while to build up, and I think in year number 3 or 4, I'm at year number 7 or 8 now, but I was making my first 10K months. I was doing well with online. My profile was getting a lot of engagement, and things were flowing until they weren't. until things started really falling apart. Like I said, it all happened at once, where income started drying up, clients started drying up in terms of leads. Even current clients, I had to give refunds through like crazy circumstances all at once, like brain injuries and divorces and all these different things. I'm just like, everything just started falling apart. And what I was left with was all these fears that came up, all these insecurities, all the doubts, all the, just all the uncomfortable emotions come up. And I realized in those moments, I'm like, hey, as I'm feeling this, I'm like, I am really energetically and emotionally attached to making money, being perceived as a successful coach. And when I say being attached, I mean that outcome is attached to my internal worthiness, my ability to feel worthy of love, worthy of attention, worthy of, of giving value. It's all tied into this thing called how much money I made this month, what I've made this year, how well my social media is doing, are people responding, and I realized unconsciously I was building my business to try to succeed so I could avoid this feeling. I was trying to succeed to avoid these uncomfortable emotions of embarrassment or shame or fear, whatever it may be. And I had the insight, I'm like, all my clients are doing that. At some level, they're trying to get this level of success because they don't want to feel the uncomfortable emotions that may come with failure. And so I was left to really face that within myself, that I was energetically and emotionally attached to certain outcomes. And I think life, being the magic that it is, the universe really took away the things that I was emotionally, energetically attached to, so I could see who I am without it. And I think that's what everyone, I think, on the spiritual journey will find as well, is that anything that you're attached to, life at some level will take it away, so you can really see who and what you are without it. Therefore, going on the journey of reclaiming your empowerment from that external outcome or circumstance or relationship.
Well said. Okay, thank you. That makes more sense. I appreciate you going deeper with that, and I appreciate your vulnerability with that and honesty. So two things come from that for me. One is, do you know why the Buddhist monk never vacuum cleaned under his sofa?
I don't.
He had no attachments.
There you go.
No, okay. Now, getting back on track, though, not to be serious, but to get back to what you're saying, because it's important. What you describe sounds like it could have been scary and hard, right? I mean, not only are you saying, okay, I'm seeing for myself that I'm having these attachments and my identity or my value or my worth is connected to this stuff, right? And that's, I think, for a lot of people scary. That's why so many people in the world really don't get into personal or spiritual development, don't look at themselves. They just keep going, or, numbing out with whatever their thing is, whatever kind of addiction. But not only did you get that invitation, you also, as it sounds to me, like suddenly had a drop in your income, and the refunds you were describing, which I don't know, but that seems like it could have push some buttons about survival and scarcity and fear around taking care of yourself. Was
Mhm.
that part of the picture then?
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course. And um, that was the main part. The main fear was like, I need to make money to inherently feel safe. And the funny thing is, if you have that pattern, if you have that belief, or you have that energetic attachment to money where you need to have a certain income to feel inherently safe, then even if you make a lot of money, you're gonna be feeling the fear anyway. The fear is going to be there, because even if you make a lot of money, at some level you're going to fear that you lose it, because your safety and your worthiness are attached to this thing outside yourself. And as soon as it's attached to something outside yourself, you have to live unconsciously with that fear. Whether it comes to the surface or not is irrelevant, because it's still running your decisions and actions. And that's what I noticed within myself. I'm like, what decisions and actions am I making? Is it from the avoidance of an emotion, right? Or is it from more of my expansive self, more from my heart's calling? And that's really what I was left with. And as all these emotions came up around shame and embarrassment, and I had sadness come up a lot of the time, a big shift for me was just letting it be there. I realized, instead of building my business and try to succeed to avoid these emotions, I'm actually going to let the emotions be there. And the first time I did a extended meditation that day, it was for 6 hours, just sitting in my chair and just letting all the emotions be there, letting all the emotions just come up, present in my body. I was crying. I'm like, why would I avoid these things? And then I realized that all the emotions are coming up because they're coming out. All the emotions are coming up because they're actually ready to be seen and healed. Therefore, I was in a space of just more and more allowing, surrender, just truly welcoming anything that my body and mind wanted me to see. And after it started to dissipate, I actually had the insight of, hey, if you build a community and you just fall in love with service, just fall in love with the art of being of service, then everything else will take care of itself in perfect divine timing. Even if your mind, it doesn't think so. The income, clients, opportunities, collaborations, friends, whatever, it'll all happen in perfect timing. And that's when I had the real idea to shift my group to the serving circle. And the serving circle was an idea that actually came out of that 6-hour meditation. And I shifted everything around the group, the intent, everything behind it. And it's grown ever since. It's grown organically to over 3,000 members now. And it's such an engaging, incredible group of people that stemmed from that initial meditation. So there you go.
Wow, cool. Thank you. And for myself, I've worked with meditation for decades, and I encourage / require all of my clients to do the same. And there's so many great benefits to it, though. You just beautifully shared one that was incredibly powerful for you. It's like when you went into that space, that's what produced for you the insight that, as I'm understanding it, has really transformed your life and your business. I'm sure we'll talk more about how that shifted things. But I guess a question then that comes to me is, when you were in that moment, and it was more than a moment, no doubt, but where things are falling apart and you're realizing that you were attached, how did you know? I mean, did you have this kind of awareness your whole life? Like, okay, I might be avoiding something. I need to look at that. Because again, that's not what most people would do. Most people, would struggle harder, or, go get a job, find some other way to create the security. It sounds like it took a lot of courage and awareness. How did you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I was at the time studying spirituality, and I was studying a lot of, different practices, and it just sort of came to me. I was studying, kind of watching a lot of videos of Kyle Cease. If anyone's watched his work, it was. I was always encouraged watching those Kyle Cease videos and personal development to really sit with myself, but I had never really done it. As soon as I sat with myself, I had this just these patterns that many entrepreneurs have, and that's, if you sit down and you meditate for an hour, you're being irresponsible, you're not doing your income generating activities, you're letting your clients down, you're not being a real business owner. All these things came up, but as they came up, I just let them be there. As everything that comes up in that space of meditation, just let everything be there and just hold space for it and observe it as you do so. And what encouraged me to continue is that I had this insight that if I have this pattern that says you're being irresponsible, or, you're not okay unless you reply to this email on time, then I'll be replying to that email from the vibration of needing to do it, right? Or I'll be working on my business, doing income generating activities from the vibration of, hustle, and that's my safety, and I need to do this because that's what everyone else does, rather than me sitting down, healing and purging the very core wound or the core pattern, and where I'm giving away my power to that thing. And then as I heal that, I reach a new vibration where I'm more the observer of the fear. I'm more the observer of the unconscious, of the uncomfortable feeling. And then I can respond to that email or do my income generating activities with a lot more resourcefulness, because it's not coming from that initial fear or the scarcity or the avoidance of a particular emotion. And in fact, I feel a lot more whole within myself. I feel a lot more at one with my clients and the people I'm connecting with, and they can really feel my heart and just the creativity and the insight and these high level resources, internal resources. I was using those more, and then everything started elevating, and just those higher level ideas started flowing a lot more easily. And now that's what I encourage everyone to do. I actually took up the meditation for 2 hours a day. I did that for years, just sitting in silence for 2 hours a day with this initial intent of just saying, what's within me that needs to be seen? What is my mind fearing most? Where do I judge the world? What am I attached to? Where am I in resistance? And what emotions are behind that? And so processing and feeling all of those emotions, and as they come up and start to process in their own time, there's just a level of oneness and peace that I feel, that's where I want my action and decisions to come from now.
Beautiful. That's great. And for sure, I know, I'll put both my hands up, I know that feeling of like, oh, come on now, come on, you don't have time for, yoga and meditation, and, you got emails to take care of and people to respond to. And what about this ad? And what about that thing? And of course, it's something I hear so often from my clients. I pound on the desk and I get so excited to say, you gotta have this time to, you don't have to, but this time to create yourself every day. It's the most important thing. Yet it is such a challenging thing for so many entrepreneurs, right? So what else can you say about how to do that, how to know the value and the importance of it?
Well, we all know, especially if you're listening to a show like this, that everything is energy. Everything that stems from you is because of your energy and your vibration, right? So why not go all in on managing your vibration? Anyone who's in the spiritual realm, on their spiritual journey, will know that. Anyone who's not on the spiritual journey, you want more tangible, examples of this, is that everything stems from your creativity, right? If in meditation, you can sit there for 30 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever, and you can heal a deep wound, pattern, trauma that you've had in your body for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, which is often what happens. How is that not the most productive thing in the world? That's what I think. We're now reaching a level of consciousness where that's possible, right? You don't have to go to 30 years of therapy anymore. You sit in silence, you hold space for what's coming through you. You let it come through you. And as you do so, what happens is it starts to leave and you no longer operate from the vibration of that pain, right? And I think when it comes to business outcomes, you simply just have this level of creativity that's so heightened that you come up with ideas and insights that you simply couldn't reach while still operating from the avoidance of that emotion or the byproduct of that pattern that you had. I call it your small self. There's a small self that is playing out this story of your limited small self, right? That may say, who and what I am is my outcomes, for example. Or who and what I am, my worthiness is the opinions of other people. Or my safety is in my money. These sort of things that feel small to you. It keeps you small compared to your expansive self. Your expansive self is the side of you who knows that who and what you are is more than your outcomes. Your safety is your divine safety. Life has your back. The universe is always going to provide exactly what it needs for you. Your expansive self knows that within every challenge is deep lessons and deep growth. So you have more to contribute. It's your expansive self. It just feels expansive to your soul, really. So what this process does, this silent meditation, it allows you to heal your small story. So you no longer operate from that place, and more you operate from the place of your expansion. There's only so much you can do in the world of hustle of your small story, right? Like, let's say I needed to make money to feel safe. So I was just consistently going and making money, right? From the vibration of, I need that to feel safe. You're never going to feel okay within yourself. And therefore, that's going to channel the level of resourcefulness you can bring. I don't think there's anything more productive, more effective or efficient than moving from the small story to the expansive story, to the expansive truth, and operating from there. It's just night and day for me.
Yes, well said. I am 100% with you. I know that from my own experience. I've seen it with so many clients, and I play angel's advocate for a moment and ask this: is it possible for a, say, spiritual entrepreneur, using the terminology that you use often, right? Is it possible for the spiritual entrepreneur to get lost in, or for the pendulum to swing too far into meditation or adjusting their vibration, right? Like the movie The Secret kind of popped this image in a lot of people's mind that, oh, all you have to do is visualize, and then the red sports car is going to drive up to your house and you've got it. Is it possible for the pendulum to swing too far to the spiritual side, say?
The answer is of course. Of course. Action taking is a part of this realm we're in. It's a part of who you are. Who you are is both masculine and feminine. We have both masculine and feminine energies, right? We have whatever you want to call it, yin and yang. It's just it is. We have both energies within us. What I would say, what I ask all of my community members, clients, is to have an internal inquiry of where are you overdeveloped. If you're overdeveloped in the hustle, in the grind, in the action taking, and you don't take time to actually sit, you don't take time to, simply go within and create, then it'll be very challenging to do so. It'll be very hard to sit in silence. But sometimes you're overdeveloped in more of your, feminine creativity, and you don't actually take the action, right? We want to create. And as you create, it's both sitting down, allowing ideas to mature and to manifest and have the internal insights, and then take action on those things. The analogy that was given to me by my coach was, if you're looking to create pottery, when you sit down, and you got the little wheel and you got your pottery clay, I've never done it, so I don't know the terminology, but when you're sitting down, you put the clay down. As soon as you're starting to imagine what you can create. That's your feminine, right? That's your flow of the creative juices flowing of just, what can I create here? What is something that's possible? What's my calling to create here? And how can this come to fruition? And who can it help? And all those different things. As soon as you put your hands on the clay, that's the masculine. As soon as you put your hands on the clay and start creating, taking action to bring your ideas to manifestation through action, that's your masculine. So some people are overdeveloped in their masculine, and they just grab clay and they just don't even think about it. They just start creating, and then they create something else and they create something else, right? You're probably not going to create the most incredible things from that place, right? If you're not even sitting down to think about it. However, other people are overdeveloped in their feminine, and they're thinking, oh my God, I can create this and I can create that. And they're thinking of all these different things they create. That would be amazing. And oh my God, I feel called to this. And oh, I could do this. And then they never put their hands on the clay. They're never creating, right? So I always have the internal inquiry, and also the inquiry for my clients is to say, where are you overdeveloped? Because it will be in your expansion to really condition the thing you've been avoiding. That you're all-rounded, because if you're all-rounded, whole and healed, you have both resources at your disposal, both the internal inquiry and creation, as well as the action taking, and more of the masculine making it happen, and they work in harmony. So just that internal inquiry helps.
That makes good sense. Okay, cool. So then maybe that brings us back to part of your story. Here you were, things are falling apart. You realize, and maybe given what you just said, maybe in some way you realized your drive toward outcomes was imbalanced, overdeveloped in the masculine sense, right? And you were doing. And part of what you realized is that you needed to slow down. You have a 6-hour meditation. You get the idea of service in a way maybe you never had before. From that is birthed the serving circle. And so then what changed for you there, and what can you tell us about how your life and business changed and the serving circle?
Yeah, well, my real as soon as I started doing my 2 hours of meditation a day, yes, it was to heal a lot of within, but I also just got to sit with a lot of peace, a lot of real oneness and real love and real excitement and real gratitude for the, for myself and the world. And, it's in that place where I get some exciting ideas. You get exciting ideas that you can actually put out there into the world. And, a lot of, I think, the success of the serving circle is because I channel that energy, I channel that enthusiasm to say, how else can I serve this community? How else can I give to, to the members? How else can I add more value? And, what events can I put on? What would be exciting for me? What would be exciting for them? And all these different things. And then as a byproduct, you're going to have more people reaching out. You're going to have more people joining your events, signing up. You're going to have more people, registering as clients, and everything happens as a byproduct, I feel, from just the desire to add more value, to be creative. My life has always just been driven by that. It's like, how can I really be in a space of love and creativity? And if I can do that, I need to take my expansive leaps, the leaps that are scary for me, whether that's launching something in particular, shifting my message, shifting my marketing. I moved from Melbourne, where I am, to the top of Australia now. I live on a tiny island at the top of Australia. Just the expansive, scary leaps that I feel like are very scary to my mind, but very expansive to my heart and my soul. If anyone's doing that, you can't not grow into the version of you you're capable of being. The more you're taking those expansive, scary leaps. So now I coach full time, and I live on a crazy small island with a lot of rock wallabies and koalas, and I've got an apartment that overlooks the ocean, and it's a beautiful place to be, and a beautiful way to live. Obviously, it offers a lot of different challenges, because as you take your leaps, the next one's just around the corner, and all the internal things you need to face along that journey. But I just find that process of just feeling to heal, like going in and feeling fully, seeing where my heart calls me, where, what my next leap is, that's going to be scary to my mind, but expansive to my soul. And then just as you take that leap, detach from the outcomes, forget about any attachments, judgments, expectations, and just continue that process time and time again. If you do that, you can't not heal, and you can't not expand. That's just what I feel.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, I really admire and appreciate your courage. And part of what I hear in that is, you didn't say it in these words, so see if this resonates and fits with what you're saying, is that as you grow as a leader, you face fears, you expand, you move into unknown territory. That's automatically attractive to others who want to be doing the same. And maybe, they've been held back by fears, because that's part of human nature, yet they see you doing that. And so it gives them the message in some way, hey, it's possible, I can do that too. And so they want to come closer or work with you in some way. Is that a fair way of putting it?
Yeah. And I think anyone who lives that way knows that people around them respond that way. People will either look at you, and because they know themselves they can live that way, but they don't, so they may resist and reject you in some way. But others may just really see that example and say, you know what, that's the kind of life I want to live. That's the kind of intention I want to have in my life. One that values more, loving deeply, growing more deeply, and contributing more deeply. And, it's a calling to them to take that leap within themselves. I think what lights my heart up, and what really draws me to do what I do, is because we all have, at some level, that feeling of how we want to live our lives. Bronnie Ware, who was the palliative care nurse who wrote the book, The 5 Regrets of the Dying, she got to interview people at the end of their life. I mean, what a gift to see what sort of lessons we can learn from people who are literally on their deathbed. And she would ask them, like, what do you regret in life? And what the number one answer, the number one sort of theme was that, I'll paraphrase, but it was basically, I wish I had the courage to live the life that I knew I wanted to live. You know, the courage to live the life that I knew I was meant to live instead of the expectations of other people. Which gives me goosebumps. And the reason being is because we all have in us like an internal guidance system of how we want to live our lives. We all know, if we listen close enough, we all know we have this heart's calling to live a particular way. It's just, do you have the courage to do that? To love more deeply, to love more unconditionally, to have more compassion, to have more courage, to have more vulnerability, you know, and we all have that there. It's just, are you listening to it? Right? If people on their deathbed says, oh, it was always there, just that calling to follow my passion, or to live this certain way, or maybe not work so much, and maybe just spend more time with family and enjoy the things that matter most to me. Like, we all have this calling, whatever it is. Could be building a business, starting a charity, loving your neighbor a bit more, spending more time with your pet. I don't know, but we all have this internal feeling, this internal calling. It's just, are you really listening to it?
Beautiful. Nicely said. I love that. Okay, well, let's go a little bit deeper into what seems to be part of your calling, which really has to do with community. At least, you know, from my observation, you from that critical moment those years ago, you moved into a greater level of service. You started the serving circle as a community, and now it's grown, and it seems like it's something that you really pour yourself into, and you've learned a lot about community dynamics. So can you tell us more about what it is and how you've cultivated it?
Yeah, well, the Serving Circle is a collection of, it's really a group of spiritual business owners who all find creative ways to collaborate, to help each other grow online. The reason being is because so many people are finding, as a business owner, it's very challenging to grow online now. You know, especially if you're doing content creation as a lead generation strategy, it's very hard to now meet ideal clients and key collaborators, because there's just, everything's flooded now. Everyone's a content creator. You know, I joke around and say, if my mum takes a photo of her Sunday lunch and posts it, she's a content creator. You know, that's what we're all competing with. So how do you make your way through the noise? How do you pierce that veil and stand out and make your way through the noise? I think the Serving Circle is a way that, if we all have a mission to heighten consciousness, why not help each other do that? Why not help each other stand out by getting on each other's podcasts, organizing referral partnerships and service exchanges, and, you know, joint ventures, and run events together, and all these different things. Because if you have a mission to heighten consciousness, then that's really ultimately what we're all here to do. And so the Serving Circle is sort of born out of that mission to create that, you know, that level of inspiration within people that says, we can do this together. We can all heighten consciousness and thrive in our businesses by serving and collaborating from a place of love, a place of generosity, where at some level I am you and you are me, and you know, we're all in this together. And that's really the energy of the vibration of the Serving Circle that that most people, I think, that most people want and desire.
Got it. Okay. Well, that all makes sense, and I appreciate that you're not proposing or advocating a different model than the competitive model of business, which, you know, is propagated in certain ways in the world, right? It seems like you stand as a model for saying, hey, I want to help you. That doesn't mean I'm gonna suffer, or there's less of the pie for me, or less clients.
Mhm.
Right. And I've really seen your generosity in that way. And so on a practical level, because I'm imagining some of the folks that are tuning in here with us either live or by rebroadcast like the idea or maybe even have communities of their own. And I know that's something that you're passionate about. What advice can you offer about how to grow community?
Yeah, well, first of all, the serving circle's grown organically. I really don't even promote it too much. And yet it grows organically. People invite their friends. And it's very engaging. We get thousands of pieces of engagement every month, hundreds of posts. And I think if you're encouraged, if you feel called to build a community, there's a few things to think about. And one is obviously the message. You just basically heard my message of the serving circle. And if it aligned with you, no doubt you'd want to join and start meeting people. And I can introduce you to some people, but why specifically your community are people joining? Why your Facebook group, your LinkedIn group, your in-person community, whatever you're creating that is a collection of people, like why? You need to be very clear on why specifically your group, your community is, is helping people overcome their problems and achieve their outcomes compared to every other group that's out there. Every other group that says that they can do something similar. So if you can get very clear on your message, then you very clearly head and shoulders above everyone else, because everyone's got a pretty vague, very intangible, very confusing message when it comes to their business, when it comes to their community. But if you can be very clear and compelling around why your group, your community, your tribe is so important, and who your ideal members are, then, like I said, you're head and shoulders above everyone else. So that's number one, is the message of really what the way in which you can communicate why your group exists.
That makes good sense, right? People have challenges, right? They come to a group for a certain reason. And as much as those are social networks, it seems like people are looking for something. They're not just necessarily looking for friends. So cool. And I know, well, since we're on the topic, you kindly offered a free gift for our audience that's related to that. Would you, is that accurate? And would you say a word about that?
Yeah, I mean, in helping people grow communities, I invited the Serving Circle members to do a group project with me, where they have a group, a community, and it's existing but a little bit dead, or they wanted to start growing one. I invited the Serving Circle members, and about 50 or 60 people went through this with me, where it was a group project where we got on 5 calls, and I just showed them how I built the Serving Circle in terms of what I needed to shift within me to be the leader that, that the community needed, working on the messaging, working on effective engagement methods, and really how to create the community where it fosters raving fans. There's certain things I've done within the Serving Circle that's very different from other people building communities. And I think it's led to more and more success. So that's one, the leadership, how to evolve into leadership, your messaging, so you get your communication right, unique engagement methods so that the engagement's high, and then how to build raving fans. I got on calls and I just basically did that. I showed people how to do it. No pitch, I just wanted to show them how I was able to do that, so they could do it themselves. And I got those videos and put them into a course, bite-sized pieces into a course, to show everyone how to do that. And that's the course I'm now giving to people in the Serving Circle, and also people of your community who are listening here. It's called Craft Your Community, and it just walks you through how to do it, so you can build your own and see the results yourself.
Okay, cool. That's amazing and super one, generous of you to share that and teach people about how to do it. Again, exemplifying the prosperity consciousness, getting away from that competitive scarcity model, right? And kindly and generously helping other people to do what's been really successful for you. So I want to make sure it's easy for people. Do we have on the screen right now? I just put up the URL for that. Is that how people can access it?
Yeah. You just sign up. It's, like I said, it's complimentary, and you sign up, and everything will be sent to your email so that you can get access and start watching those videos.
All right. Let me see if I can take that URL and make it super easy for people, and I'll put that in our comments here. This could be beyond my pay grade, but let's see. It's, anything is possible. Let's see. And while I'm doing that, let's see if I got it correct. I think I did. And so for anybody who's listening and not watching, you might be saying, come on, man, don't give me the video, give me the audio version. So that URL, I'm going to say the whole thing, and you can, stop and replay it as many times as you need. It's Tyson, Tyson -coaching.mykajabi, which is mykajabi.com/offers/23 capital P, small letter Y, capital V, small letter W, capital V, small letter K. All right. And one day we'll get a link shortener on that puppy. That'll save my voice next time. But either way, that's awesome that you're doing that, and really cool. And you said in the middle of that, Tyson, something you said about unique engagement methods that you have used that's different than what some other people have done. Can you say more about that? What did that mean?
Yeah, I mean, unique engagement methods. So many people in communities, especially in building their Facebook group, LinkedIn group, whatever, they think, hey, I'll just put something together. I'll invite a lot of my friends and community members to join this specific group, and I'll just put content in there and they're going to love it. It doesn't necessarily work that way, because that's what everyone's doing. And so when I say unique engagement methods, you'll see in the course, but what I really break it down to is, what can you do that's different, where you're able to not only talk to them, but you open up communication channels where they're able to talk to you, members are able to talk with each other, and members can talk to non-members. And in your community, if you open up those communication channels where it's you to them to you, them with each other, and each other with non-members, and that all flows, then engagement kind of lifts, right? Engagement really starts to lift. To show that this was possible, the Serving Circle's already engaging, very, very engaging group. But I went on the experiment of lifting engagement in December and January. A few months ago, I went on an experiment. Said, let me go through my methods. I'm going to access my creativity and go through a bit of a process to heighten my engagement methods. And even if it's an already engaging group, posts increased by about 62%. The comments and reactions elevated by 78 and 76%. I have a screenshot of that to show that this is possible. All it requires is for you to sit down, instead of just putting out content and saying, hey, people, engage with my content. Think about how you can engage with them in unique ways. They can engage with you in unique ways. They can engage within each other, within members, and then members to non-members. And although that huge flow of communication is going to lift your community. For example, I'm like, let's get creative. what's the serving circle all about? What do I really stand for? And what it is about relationships. I sat in a meditation about 5 minutes, and I'm like, okay, what can I do within the serving circle to really maintain and facilitate relationships? How can they engage with one another? And we got people all over the world, mostly in North America. So we've got people from Canada, people in the US, heavy percentage in Australia, but they're all over the world. And I'm like, okay, what can we do? Let me create a post that gets people to list their city. And let's start trying to create in-person relationships. Anyone who's in a similar city, go meet them. Hang out. We're all here from a very similar vibration. Let's do that. So I created a post that says, hey, list your city below. Let's see if we can create some in-person connections. And I've never done that before. But because of that creativity, I think about 470 comments later, we've got a lot of people who are now scrolling through those comments and who are creating in-person connections. And now they're taking photos of them out at lunch and meeting each other. And, you know, it's just really, really funny. I've got a story. Someone messaged me about 4 girls got to meet up, and they met up for a drink. And as they had a shot at the table, they all shouted to Tyson Sharpe, you know, because
that's great.
Fun ways of doing that. I mean, it is really cool to just sit down and say, what else can I do? What else can I do within my community that's going to lift the engagement? That's fun, it's creative, spontaneous, you know, passionate, whatever. You'll come up with ideas, but no one's doing that. It's like, okay, what piece of content can I create? Let's see if anyone likes this piece of content. Let's do these quote cards. Let's write this article. Let's do this. Those things are fine. You just want to be more spontaneous and creative with what can I do that no one else is doing, that adds value, that allows people to connect, that elevates their whatever. And you'll get answers, and follow that. Follow the ideas that are just different. And the community will see the energy that you're putting into it.
Beautiful. I mean, and one way I hear what you're saying is just love people, love the community, and from love comes service, and that comes, you know, spontaneity and creativity. So beautiful. Okay. Well, time is flying along here, Tyson. So is there anything that we haven't talked about or I haven't asked you about that I should have?
Oh, we've covered a lot here. I mean, I'm really just going to emphasize, you know, this channel, this podcast, this show is all about vibrant living, and to be able to live that vibrant life where you're living your best life, I truly believe you have to take those leaps. You have to sit within yourself. There's 3 real steps. I'll highlight them again. 1, feel to heal. You have to feel within yourself. 2, you have to follow your heart. So you have to take those scary, expansive leaps. And 3 is to forget about any attachments, expectations, you know, to the outcome. The more you just do that, you see your life transform. It's like a universal energy just takes over. It's still not easy, definitely not easy, but it's definitely a life that's more fulfilling. You'll definitely grow. You'll definitely love more deeply. You'll definitely contribute ways that are fulfilling to you. You can't not. I've just seen this happen time and time again. So that's what I would really emphasize for anyone wanting to take some practical action from this. That's what I would recommend.
Beautiful. I love that. Yeah. And I think you hit it really beautifully. It's what you described is simple, not necessarily easy, yet it is simple. And that means we can all just keep coming back to those principles and saying, okay, how can I grow into that more today? All right. Well, that I believe brings us up to the final question, the big question. This question is so big, it's impossible. Can I ask you that question, Tyson?
You may.
And I say it's impossible because you've got so much experience and knowledge. What I'm asking, though, is for you to boil it all down to distill it. So if you had one thing to offer that would help our people to live a more vibrant, thriving life, what's the one thing you would offer?
Look, summarize everything. It just comes back to universal compassion. This is one of the concepts that is just embedded in any personal development, shadow work, spirituality. It's just universal compassion. It's just having more and more unconditional compassion for yourself and others. It just, if you do that, and that's an intention throughout your day, throughout your life, everything elevates. Things just flow through you that are just to be of service, and things flow through you where you just love yourself more deeply, and you heal. So you just heal in divine timing, and you just take those actions based on you're here for a purpose and you're here for a reason, and following that is just night and day between not following that and following that. So summarize everything, like live a life of universal compassion, and you'll be just fine.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And even better than just fine. So Tyson, no doubt people will want to get more in touch with you. We've talked about the Serving Circle, which is a place to connect, but how else? What's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Yeah, I mean, you can reach out to me on Facebook. I'm generally on Facebook, so you can reach out to me. You'll be able to find me if you search Tyson Sharpe, or if you search the Serving Circle. If you have any specific questions, whatever, you can reach out at my email. Email is tyson@tysoncoaching.com. Pretty super simple. Just reach out, say hi, and happy to be of service to whatever challenges you're coming up against.
That's beautiful. Okay. And again, for those who are listening, it's Tyson, Tyson, Tyson@tysoncoaching.com. Did I get that right?
Yep. And tysoncoaching.com is the website. So reach out, say hi, and move forward from there.
Fantastic. All right. Well, Tyson, thank you so much. Not just for investing this time with us and serving our audience, but also for the courage and the work that you've done on yourself that brings you to this point where you are able to live with that sense of compassion and service. That's a beautiful thing, and I am super grateful for it.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. Thanks for having me on here and doing what you do. I guess anyone who's listening is looking to elevate their life, and I guess not only the information that you provide, but the energy in which you do so. Everyone can feel your heart and feel your kind nature. And I think that's the beauty of this. We can clearly see that you've done the work, and clearly see that, you're shining light for everyone. So kudos on what you're doing, man.
Ah, very kind. Thank you. I appreciate that. And for y'all that are tuning in, our audience, again, live or by rebroadcast, thank you. Because not only is this about making your life better, your interest and action, right? Because you're doing something, you're going to take something from this and put it into action. Not only does that make your life better, makes a difference in the world, right? The butterfly effect is real, and you are making a difference in the world, y'all. So thank you so much for tuning in. Stay with us. We have another amazing show coming up soon in just 3 days. And until then, please make your life a masterpiece. Thanks, y'all. Aloha. Mahalo for tuning in to the Art of Vibrant Living show, y'all. I'm Daniel Aaron, and may you live with great vibrancy.